You read that right. 100 very smart big brain questions for atheists. Sorry that it appears to have misspelled big brain smart in both the title and thumbnail, but for some reason it kept autocorrecting to stupid in all caps. I have no idea why. Anyway, let's go. 1. Why don't you believe in God? Because he's not fucking real. I prefer to believe in real things like me owning all the whiskey in the universe and Santa. 2. Where is your evidence that God doesn't exist? I don't actually need evidence that God doesn't exist. God exists is a claim about the universe. My position is that I do not buy that claim, because everything that I have ever heard about the guy sounds like fanciful nonsense, but that is only because that's exactly what it is. 3. Why do you hate God? I don't hate him. Why would I? God doesn't real. However, his superfans, hate's a bit of a strong word, but find intensely annoying and wish they would stop being so goddamn dumb. That's one of the many thoughts I have had for sure. 4. Do you believe in the existence of Jesus? Depends. Do I think he's real right now? No. But do I think someone with the name Jesus existed in the way back when times? Probably. Do I believe all the shit said about him in the Bible? No. But that's only because it's almost certainly made up nonsense. 5. If no, where is your evidence that Jesus didn't exist? Again, if you mean magic Bible Jesus, it's the fact that magic men don't exist, with the obvious exception of Santa. 6. Why do you hate Jesus? For the exact same reason I hate God, because of how real he is. No, wait, it is still the same answer though. I don't hate made up man. I do find certain of his followers completely intolerable though, especially the ones who ask a bunch of stupid questions assuming that if we can't answer one of them, then we will have to immediately become fucking Christian. That is not how that works. 7. Have you read the Bible? Cover to cover? No. Large parts of it? Yeah, and they were extremely tedious until the parts where something very, very fucked up happened, and then it went back to being intensely boring. How it became so popular, I have no idea. 8. Do you believe people have souls? Yes, but only the people who don't believe in God, because fuck you. 9. If no, where is your evidence? It is funny how someone can come up with an idea for which there is no evidence, no reason to believe it's a real thing, apart from an utter misunderstanding of how brains work, and then ask you to prove their stupid thing wrong. Because they don't exist, dumbass, and if they do, they are doing a damn good job of being completely undetectable. 10. Do you reject all gods or just the Christian God? Oh no, I believe in all gods but Yahweh. That's how being an atheist works, you fucking clown. 11. Why do you care so much about what other people believe? I don't give a shit what other people believe. I care what they do, what they say, and on this channel specifically, what they claim. Because if you want me to believe your nonsense, you better make sure it's not, nonsense. 12. Where do you get your sense of right and wrong from? My gigantic brain. Yeah, this guy tells me all sorts of shit. He is the all-seeing brain, and he knows everything. Like, did you know that humans are the worst? Hey, I didn't say it. Blame the brain that knows literally everything, including where you live. Steve, not so clever now, are you? 13. What evidence would persuade you that God exists? Some, but only if it's good evidence for God and isn't better explained by countless other phenomena, and isn't a god of the gaps and, well, pretty much anything that a dumb theist thinks is good evidence for God, because it never is. 14. Why are you against the idea of faith? I'm not. Everyone has faith in something at some time in their lives. What I am against is using faith in the face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary. In those cases, I can only assume people are just being obstinate, probably to annoy me. 15. Why do you attack Christians? Well, it's not that I'm attacking Christians per se. It's that when there is a human within lunging range, I simply have to go for them. It's the right thing to do. 16. Why do you hate Christians? Look, I try not to hate anyone. I think it's a waste of energy that could otherwise be applied to hunting down yet more retro handhelds. And hating people is a lot like the old saying about resentment. It's akin to drinking poison in the hopes that the other person dies. Especially if you don't know the people, what's the fucking point, and I certainly don't hate anyone for being Christian. I will, however, judge them heavily for the stupid things that they do and say. Maybe they should stop that. 17. Why do you mock and scoff at Christians? Well, it's not all of them, but for the dumb ones, see above. 18. Are you aware that you're fulfilling a biblical prophecy? What, the one about being the most handsome, famous, and good at the sex person, and how he will arrive and make all the Christians who take the Bible literally look really silly? No. But if you mean the one where the dumb book says people will say the dumb book is dumb, well, I am the shonk. 19. Why do you want to stop people from believing in God? Even if I wanted to, which I don't, I literally cannot do that. That's like asking me to stop people from being assholes. They're gonna do it despite what I say. I would, however, like it if they had better reasons for doing so. 20. Why do you give Muslims a pass? I don't. I've covered them multiple times on this channel. But unfortunately, I don't speak the various tongues that the people who follow those languages often speak. So the amount of content related to them that I can cover in a sensible amount of time, since I have to source accurate translations and the like, well, it means that covering the believers who speak the same language as me makes way more sense. But when they do show up in a way that I can fairly interact with and understand, you're damn right, I give them just as much shit as you guys. 21. Why do you pretend to have all the answers? Pretend? Mr. Brainly here gives me all the answers, and he says you really need to start wiping with something other than a brick. I don't even know how that works. Why do you claim to be skeptical when you are unwilling to change your mind? I literally change my mind all the fucking time when presented with new evidence or being presented with a new discovery that works. I in fact think, oh wow, cool, new info. I suspect your problem is, why don't you immediately agree with me when I say something stupid? And that's because, right, it's stupid. 23. Why do you go after Christian museums that are just trying to tell the truth? Lol, you mean creationist ones, don't you? And to call the things that they say in those fucking places true is very funny. 24. How can you claim to be agnostic and atheist at the same time? Because words have more meanings than the ones that you might try to apply to them. Oftentimes we use the ones that people, use. And Gnostic/agnostic is commonly used as a knowledge claim. I do or don't know if God exists, while theism/atheism is a state of mind. I do or don't believe God exists. So very, very easily, I guess. 25. Why do you reject people's personal experiences? Because the plural of experience is not and never will be evidence. 26. If atheism is just an opinion, why do you behave like it is a fact? Atheism is not an opinion. It is, in fact, a fact. Unfortunately, you don't know in what regards that fact is facting about. It is a fact about me. I do, in fact, not believe God exists. Because I don't. And I behave like the things I believe are facts, because how the fuck else am I supposed to behave? Are you going to behave like God is made up even though you believe in him? Of course you fucking aren't. That would be ridiculous. 27. How do you square the fact that some of the most evil people in history are atheists? Well, let's just ignore that you are definitely meaning some people who literally weren't atheists, because that's what this question is always about. But so what? There's lots of things that people don't agree with about a ton of other shit I do that I also do. I'll bet you wrote this stupid list using a computer. I made this stupid video using a computer. Are we the same? No, I'm obviously better because videos am the bestest. 28. Why do you believe in evolution? Lol, evolution, eh? And that's not a mistype, it's literally how it's written. And I believe in evolution because it's a fact that is supported by unbelievable amounts of evidence. And the only people who don't believe it's real are either morons, so thoroughly indoctrinated that they'll believe anything as long as it's said to them by their authority figure, or they're just a massive fucking liar. Also, atheists don't have to believe in evolution. Wrap your noggin around that one, mate. 29. Where is your evidence for evolution? All over the goddamn place. If you would learn some of it, that'd be great. 30. Have you ever observed evolution? Yes. In fact, it's happening everywhere constantly. And we have even seen it in more dramatic regards, both in the lab and in nature. You're welcome. 31. Do you believe in abiogenesis, panspermia, or creation? Well, abiogenesis seems the most likely of those three, as panspermia simply shifts the start point to space and still would require one of the other two, and creation is fucking stupid. 32. If you believe in abiogenesis or panspermia, where is your evidence? Chemicals exist and are attracted to each other and can form complex structures. Why would it be even remotely difficult to believe that those could begin self-replication? 33. What was the first life form? John. It's pretty great. 34. Where did the first life form come from? As far as we know, Earth, unfortunately. 35. Could the first life form reproduce on its own? Have you, read the definition of life? If it couldn't self-replicate, it wouldn't be life, you dunce cap. 36. Did the first life form have DNA? I have no idea, but I assume from what I understand, probably not. There are other things that can and do what DNA is for at a more basic level though, so probably one of those. 37. Did the first life form seek out food, or did it use photosynthesis? Are you asking how it got material for self-replication, or how did it get energy? Because, plants eat as well, right? They suck nutrition in from the ground, usually. That's what that special dirt you like to eat is for. But for the food part, it's probably just kind of bumped into things. And sure, it probably acquired some amount of energy from the sun too. That's where most energy comes from. 38. Are viruses alive? Definitionally? No. 39. Why do you believe in the Big Bang Theory? Because the small pop theory sounds really, really silly. 40. Where is your evidence for the Big Bang? So right, there's this thing called the universe, and it's expanding. The Big Bang is technically still happening to this day, and I for one have had enough. 41. Did you observe the Big Bang? What, like the initial event? Yes, but no one believes me. And that's okay, since we have evidence for that happening. Again, if expanding now, what happens when you reverse time? It shrinks to a point. And then if you play it forward again, it's gonna expand. Like how the Big Bang Theory says it would. 42. Why do you believe the Earth is millions of years old? Because it is? 43. Where is your evidence for the Earth being millions of years old? Okay, well that's easy. What you do is you go outside and you find a patch of mud or dirt. And yeah, it's underneath that. It's chock full of evidence that it is the age that it is. You should really check it out at some point. 44. How old are you? Too goddamn old for this shit. 45. Why do you reject the historical flood as described in Genesis? The same way I believe things that we have a bunch of good evidence for, but in reverse. 46. Where is your evidence that the flood didn't happen? Nowhere? He won't get that one, but you did, because you're smart. It's something that I've always admired about you and your sexy face. 47. Why do you reject the story of the Garden of Eden? Because it's an obvious fairy tale written by people who don't understand how anything works, but really, really, really wanted to be able to explain it to other people, probably in an attempt to appear smarter than they clearly weren't. Pro tip, saying, I don't know, but it'd be really interesting to find out, makes you sound way smarter than making up bullshit. 48. Where is your evidence that the Garden of Eden didn't exist? Oh, I'm really sorry, but I left it in the Garden of Eden. I'll tell you what, you go and get it, and I'll let you read it to the class. 49. Why do you reject the sacrifice that Jesus made? What sacrifice? You mean the crucifixion? For the same reason I think it's really bad storytelling when you kill off a character and then just have them come back a year later with some bullshit lame excuse. Except even worse, because it was 3 days and he didn't even have a good excuse as bullshit. 50. Where is your evidence that Jesus wasn't crucified? What the fuck are you talking about? That's not what anyone says. If there was a guy called Jesus, Henry Christ, he's quite hungry be his name, it's entirely possible he was crucified, because apparently people back then were crucified. You know what they didn't do, and still don't to this very day? Come back to fucking life. 51. Why do you reject the resurrection of Jesus? I'll tell you what, you go off now and die fully for multiple days, get your head smashed in and your heart cut out and your liver removed and your bowels up. I'm sorry, I got distracted. But do that shit and then come back to life and I'll believe that Jesus did too. Cool? 52. Where is your evidence that he didn't rise from the dead 3 days later? Because people don't do that. Thank fuck. Otherwise, my patio is going to get destroyed. 53. Why do you deny the existence of Jesus but accept the existence of Muhammad? What? I told you I thought Jesus could exist. Now, the magical bullshit version didn't, but neither did the magical bullshit version of Muhammad, because they're both made up. 54. Do you celebrate Christmas? Yes, but only with people I like. And my family. 55. Did you know that Christmas is a Christian holiday commemorating the birth of Jesus? I've got a question for you. Are you fucking stupid? Who the hell doesn't know that's what it's supposed to be? Do you just assume that everyone is as ignorant of reality as you are? Christ. Out of Christmas. 56. Do you say Merry Christmas? Only in February, but it's a greeting, and it literally doesn't mean I accept the thing that the celebration claims to be about. Same way I'm not saying that God is real when I do a massive painful shit onto your hamper and drawers and cabinets and dishwasher, and you know what, it'll be quicker just to list the things of yours I didn't shit in or on. Your dog. When I have to scream, oh God, it's just because that's a phrase in the English language. It doesn't tell you anything, apart from that you need to clean your couch now. 57. Why do you want to prevent people from saying Merry Christmas? It isn't that I want them to stop saying that, it's that I want them to stop saying fucking anything. Those face noises are awful. 58. Why do you want to force people to say happy holidays? No. 59. Do you celebrate Easter? Sure, chocolate egg shitting rabbits are awesome. 60. Did you know that Easter is a Christian holiday commemorating the resurrection of Jesus? Is it? Oh my God, you taught me something that no one else knows. Also, do you know that many people use holidays in a secular fashion, simply to have some time off and enjoy their loved ones, without the need to invoke Captain Bullshit's magical adventures? 61. Do you say God bless you when someone sneezes? No. I tell them to fuck off. 62. Why do you want people not to say bless you when someone sneezes? That's not the same phrase, is it? And I don't care. The blessing could be from anything. Whiskey bless you. See? 63. Why do you want to take prayer out of school? If someone wants to pray in school, I do not care. If a group of weirdos wants to start chanting in a corner, that's a bit odd, but again, I do not care. If teachers try to force you to join in on that, and you'll get ostracized for not joining in when they are supposed to be teaching fucking maths, yeah, that's not cool, and they can fuck off into space. Unless it's a private school where, again, I don't give a fuck. They can literally do what they want as long as they aren't using public funds to do so. 64. Should a teacher be fired for talking about God in their class? Yes, but only if it's during religious studies, because fuck you. 65. Should a teacher be fired for talking about Jesus in their class? No, absolutely not. But they have to use the most ridiculously buff depiction of Jesus possible as a visual aid. 66. Should a teacher be fired for talking about Muhammad in their class? So these last few questions are actually just, it depends. If they are trying to make kids follow their faith, then no, don't do that. That's not what I send my kids to school for. If it's this person is a notable historical figure, then again, who gives a shit? 67. If the answer to the last question was no, why is Muhammad okay, but Jesus isn't? Because, right, you're a moron. 68. Why do you want to censor opinions that you disagree with? I really don't. I wouldn't have a channel if that were the case, and I would be very sad. Why do you want to spread opinions about atheists that are clearly fucking stupid? I'm not saying I want you to stop, but it would be very interesting to find out why. 69. Why do you repeat information from scientists when you have no idea what you are talking about? Give me an example, and I'll give you an example of you clearly not knowing what you are talking about. 70. Why do you believe something can come from nothing? I don't, but then again, I've actually looked into what the science currently says about the possible origins of the universe. I know I am such an asshole. 71. How do you rationalize the belief that something can come from nothing? Oh, well, that's easy. What you do is you become a biblical literalist, and when God creates something from nothing, in your book though, you go, oh, that sounds legit, and then you skip off like the empty-headed buffoon that you are. 72. Where is your evidence that something can come from nothing? Funnily enough, I don't have any. Where's your evidence that you have a brain? Because I am just not seeing any. 73. Have you ever observed something coming from nothing? Yes, actually. These questions came from a clearly empty head. Does that count? 74. Can you believe something without evidence? Well, if we're talking about an argument, then sure, a sound logical argument can convince me without necessarily needing evidence, but I absolutely prefer it. 75. Do you believe in extraterrestrials? Are you telling me that there's even more terrestrials? But we have enough of those already, damn it. 76. Do you believe in ghosts? No, but only because they don't believe in me. 77. Do you believe in demigods? Do you know how words work? If I don't believe in gods, I'm hardly going to believe in part gods, am I, dumbass? 78. Do you believe in dinosaurs? Yes, but that's only because they are delicious. 79. Do you believe the earth is round or flat? Excuse me, that's a false dichotomy. It's actually whiskey shaped. 80. Do you believe in miracles? Hold that thought. Let's just see if you can ask one question that isn't extremely fucking dumb first. 81. Do you believe in anything supernatural? Well, the only thing I believe in supernatural is Dean, obviously. Sam is just always such a crybaby. 82. Why do you accept whatever science says, no matter how ridiculous it is? You're going to have to give me an example of something that is actual science that you think is ridiculous. And again, I'll give you something that you clearly don't understand. 83. Why do you accept whatever the government says, no matter how ridiculous it is? The government? What government? There's loads of governments. And I don't. Why do you accept whatever your pastor says, no matter how ridiculous? And I know you do, otherwise we wouldn't have to make this video now, would we? 84. Do you have any friends or family members that are Christian or religious in some capacity? Yeah, a bunch of them, and they even know what I do for a living. But when we go out and get shit-faced, it just doesn't come up. My favourite in-person religious conversation is the one that doesn't happen. 85. If so, do you love them? Oh god, no, but that's mostly just because of their personalities. 86. Where does love come from? The brain. 87. Is love just a bunch of chemicals reacting in your brain? Of course it fucking is. Everything in your brain is from chemicals in your brain. That's how brains work. 88. Do human beings have free will, or is everything predetermined? Well, I'm assuming you're saying, are their actions predetermined? Because everything being predetermined isn't actually the same thing. But as far as I can tell, humans are just great big reaction machines. But that doesn't mean that the appearance of free will isn't very, very real and extremely convincing. And I'm also not beyond convincing that free will is real and just a wildly complex emergent property that we are simply a very long way from understanding. 89. Do animals have free will? Whatever way that humans do, animals will be the same. But that is only because humans are literally animals. 90. Do animals feel pain? I have no idea. You know what? Let's do some science together. You go and kick a lion in the balls and come back to me with the answer. 91. Do animals have souls? No, but only because souls are fake. 92. Should animals have rights? No, but only again because humans are animals and I will do whatever I can to take theirs away. 93. Should people have rights? No, we shouldn't even have people. 94. Are human beings animals? Only if you care what the fuck words mean. 95. Does all life on Earth have a common ancestor? Yes, John. And he'd be devastated to find out what you lot turned into. 96. Where is your evidence that all life on Earth has a common ancestor? Okay, so there's this thing called science, and you should probably look into it. It's got some fascinating shit in it. 97. Do you believe that human beings came from monkeys? I think only if those monkeys are extremely sexy. 98. Do you believe that monkeys came from fish? No way. It's far too difficult to fuck a fish, I hear. 99. Do you believe that fish came from an amoeba? See, now you're just being ridiculous. Where would you even put it? 100. Where did the amoeba come from? Where? Oh, I think I misunderstood the last 3 questions. Okay, bye!
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was gonna tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the